Alright, peace to the family, Soul Conscious TV. Back with King Norman. How you doing today, my brother?
What's going on, family? Peace. Peace.
Alright, today we're here to talk about when the Moors ruled Europe. Alright, where you gonna get started at?
Well, let's give a basic introduction on the difference between an El, a Bay, a Day, a Al, and Ali. Here are the 5 Kushite or Kemetic or Moorish names that ties Indians, Indo, India, Indios, Indus, blacks to the sovereignty of America. El, Bay, Day, Al, and Ali. These 5 names belong to the 5 civilized tribes. These tribes are El, Cherokee, Bay, Choctaw, Day, Seminole, Al, Creek, and Ali, Chickasaw. The name El means God, force, or power. Bay means ruler of the land. Day means knowledgeable. Al means the same as El, but Al, goddess, is feminine. Ali means the exalted or most high. These 5 civilized tribes came together to form a union called the Iroquois Confederation. This confederation formed the Articles of Confederation, which formed the American government. The Articles of Confederation became the United States Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the Articles of Association. These documents are called the 4 Constitutions. El, he is the cosmos, lawgiver, or the legislative branch. Bay, he governs the land and enforces the law of Elohim. He is the executive branch. So Allah can mean arm, leg, arm, head. And if we're talking civil law, it can refer to all laws because it governs all laws. A-L-L, capital L-A-W. Now, the Moorish flag or the Moroccan flag is a 5-pointed star. And each apex or point has a specific meaning and refers to something. You have the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And in the words of Noble Drew Ali, any group of people must answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. Now, Moorish Science covers a variety of things. They study civil law, they study astrology, astronomy, supreme mathematics, numerology, alchemy, and last but not least, the Moors also study world geography. So in dealing with Moorish science, there are many different approaches. If we're talking about the theory or what has been proved by certain people of Pangea or Pangea, then that's to say that the earth was once one. And with that being said, then America could be described as the first Africa. And if that were so, then the Mississippi River is the Nile River. And from Florida, you can walk right into the northwest corner of Africa. Now, we also built pyramids across the Mississippi River, but to hide the evidence, they had to tear it down. So when you hear the word American, there are many different variations, and that is another thing that they study is etymology. So you have to understand the basis of words, because words have powers and carry frequencies, and words are spells. So if you hear the word America, it's very similar to Morocco, because Morocco or the Moroccan Empire is what originally owned the Americas. So you can understand the word America can translate to a Moor, or America a Moorican, or America a Moroccan. Now, the Moors also study astrology and astronomy to its highest level. So they would explain a great year as approximately a time period of 26,000 years. Why 26,000 years? Because that's the time that it takes the sun to orbit through the Milky Way in the star constellation. Therefore, what defines or divides an age? An age can be divided up by the zodiacs. And right now we are in the age of Aquarius, which is the age of information and technology. That is why everybody is waking up on a vast scale. An age can also be defined as a time period of 2,000 to 160 years to 2,166 years. And this to a Moor can be described as a basic 4th grade education if he or she is up on his shit. Now, it is said that from 711 to 1492, the Moors crossed the Iberian Peninsula. And basically, the Moors are responsible for bringing Europe out of the Dark Ages, because the Moors had the longest reign of anybody for 700 plus years. And during that time, they had taught alchemy, supreme mathematics, numerology, astronomy, astrology. They had taught civil law, and they had brought personal hygiene unto Europe, because at that time they were living in dire situations. So there are many books and several references that give references on this information and these historical facts. One of these books can be When the Moors Ruled Europe, because at Spain or during that time, Spain was nothing but a bunch of kingdoms. So a lot of things weren't quite formed yet. So the Moors are responsible for basically bringing Europe out of the Dark Ages. Another book or reference can be the Golden Age of the Moor. The Golden Age of the Moor can be defined from a time period of 711 to 1492, because in 1482, Christopher Columbus was constructing his prisons and building up different types of prisons. So in 1492, when he came into conquest or conquer, he would be victorious, making it the Golden Age of the Spaniard. And remember that Christopher Columbus was Jewish and he was European or Spaniard. Another book or reference can be 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro with complete proof. And in this book, Europe makes reference to the Moors and gives divine honors unto the Moors for bringing them out of the Dark Ages. This is definitely a good read, so if you're looking to do further or extensive research, this is where to start. The Moors are also responsible for a lot of architecture in Europe. As a matter of fact, they're probably responsible for damn near 95% of the architecture in Europe. And they're also responsible for lighting up Europe. Remember, they were very advanced in everything, in advanced medicines and healings and all types of things. So they basically brought structure unto Europe. And here's a book or a simple reference that can further guide you into what you're looking for. And until the Moors came into Europe in the 7th century and civilized them, over 90% of the European population could not read or write. They were illiterate. And to be honest, even kings or queens at that time were living in sties, and they had their animals and chickens living inside their house. And that's what caused a lot of sicknesses. So when the Moors came, the Moors had basically, taught them how to build, a pen when it would not for your animals and when it would not, or a sty, so that way your animals can stay outside and have better hygiene. And that helped cut down on a lot of the sickness. In Europe, all over Europe, there are many busts, statues, and historical paintings of Moors, and for their contributions and things that they have done in Europe. Here is a picture of a black Moor. This is a black Moor with a coat of arms.
You said where is that?
This is in Europe. They're also in Germany, London, you name it. Anywhere in Europe, they were there. Chafariz del Rey in the Alfama district View of a square with the King's Fountain in Lipsen. Dutch painting circa 1570 to 1580. Close-up of a man who appears to be the King of Portugal. The king wears the cross of the Order of Santiago, which was founded in the 12th century and owes its name to the national patron of Galicia and Spain, Santiago, St. James the Greater, under whose banner the Christians began in the 9th century to combat and drive back the Moors and Muslims from the Iberian Peninsula. So this is basically the coming of a new age and the golden age of the Spaniard. This would force the Moors out of Europe and causing many of them to have to migrate somewhere else and become basically pirates, because there were a lot of Moorish pirates as well. This is a bronze portrait, bust of a lady of Empurier, Iberia, Spain, circa or around 100 AD. And AD does not stand for after death. AD stands for Anno Domino, which is Latin for the year of our Lord. Very Africoid. Very African. Very Moorish. Black Moor. Here's another historical painting called The Changer, Rudolph Ernest, from 1854 to 1932. Here's another portrait of a Moor chieftain, Philadelphia Art Museum. Chess originated in Africa. A wall painting on the tomb of the Egyptian queen Nefertari, wife of Ramses II, 1304 1237 BCE, before Common Era, shows her playing Senet or Senat, which is chess. It symbolizes the struggle between good and evil, as well as stands magically for rebirth and resurrection. The African games, known as Mancala or Wardi, are among the oldest games, dating back at least to 5000 BCE, before Common Era or before Christian Era. Here's a picture of the Moors playing chess, or Mancali, or Wardi. General Washington at one point in time did own several hundred slaves. That is a fact. But we're not going to talk about slavery. We are going to discuss that there are historical paintings and pictures of George Washington with a Moor. And in this picture, this African with a fez or a turban is not a slave, because a slave was not allowed to wear a turban or a fez. This Moor is his master astrologer, astronomer, mathematician, alchemist, numerologist, and master teacher in healing herbs and medicines. So this was basically his advisor. If he needed to solve an equation, or if a mathematical problem was too complex, this was his master mathematician. His master mathematician.
I wonder what he got for helping him out, though.
We're finna get into that, my brother, because there are many different Moors, and there are many different groups of Moors that did several different things. You had your Dragon Moors, you had your Black Moor, you had your Dirty Moors, and in watching this, you also had your Moors who basically your Dirty Moors who sold out, and basically were responsible for at least enslaving about 30 million Africans in the Congo. So a lot of them work with Queen Elizabeth, as you see right here in this historical picture. A lot of them work with Prince Leopold, who would make Hitler look like a choir boy. So there were a lot of Moors that sold out because, you know, they signed that agreement in 1787. So, you know, there's a lot of things that went into play once they had lost power and lost reign. So you can kind of blame them, but you can't blame them because you have to look on the side of that, you know, they had to do what they had to do as well to survive. But, you know, at the cost of selling after people short, that's not G.
Right.
So whenever, you know, there's always an argument between comedic science and the Moors when and when not, this is one thing that really kills the Moors. But like I said, this is not about bashing another ideology over the other. It's just simply being fair and honest and stating all the facts and showing the fallibility and everything. This is not to say that all the Moors did this, but there were a certain group of Moors. And these are called your dirty Moors. Now it gets a little more historical. So this is in black and white, so you want to look in very good.
Dirty Moor.
I have a few more, family. Bear with me.
Dirty Moor.
Dirty Moor.
Got them chained up.
Got them all chained up.
Yeah. This is Leopold.
King Leopold.
King Leopold.
He was playing no games, and I'll do a class on him. I'm talking about he got pictures. I'm talking about his pictures of him with Africans with their hands chopped off, holding their own chopped off hand.
Yeah.
Wasn't playing no games.
Hey, why would they take this picture? Like they want like the visual of this is black people capturing black people. But when we know that these are Leopold soldiers, they following orders.
Right, they're following orders, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what they have to understand. That's why they had to make deals, because you know they had to do it. They had to do what they had to do to survive somewhat, because once they lost reign, it was like now we're scavenging for whatever we can get.
Right.
So there were some that were very solid and that stuck to the truth, and others that, you know, sold out and, you know, sold it short, but, you know,